Hey YouTube, it's Pace2K here, and today I'm going to be doing a NBA Western Conference tier list maker for you guys. So if you haven't checked out my Eastern Conference one just yet, then make sure you go check that out and then come back to this one. So in this one, we got 15 new teams to cover. So let me go ahead and try to break down where I think each tier really means. So championship contenders is pretty obvious. That just means those are the teams that are really going to compete for a championship. And then the tier after that is playoff participants. I really view those teams as really like the second round exits. Maybe a first round exit who's really competitive. And then you also got the teams that get swept in the Western Conference Finals. Are a complete surprise, kind of like the Trailblazers from last year. So yeah, let's get straight to it. We also got the borderline playoff teams. Those are pretty much like the lower seeds type of teams. You also got like the 9 and 10 seeds. You know what I mean? Like the ones that are probably gonna get swept in the first round. So yeah, after that you got the not good enough. Those are very self-explanatory. They're just not good enough to make the playoffs. They're probably just gonna be a middle of the pack lottery team. And then try again in a few years. That just means your team is trash. So yeah, let's get straight to it. First of all, I'm going to start out with the Mavericks. So I do have them as a not good enough team right now. They obviously got Luka Doncic, who won Rookie of the Year. They have Porzingis, who they re-signed. Obviously, they got Seth Curry in a pretty good deal for a role player. They got a lot of guys back as well. So they did pretty good. But I just don't think they're a playoff team right now. The Western Conference is very, very competitive compared to the East. So maybe in the East they would be a borderline playoff team, but not in the West. That's why I have them in not good enough. But I definitely could see them being good enough in a few years. The Nuggets are a pretty easy team to rate in my opinion. They are pretty good. A lot of people might even put them as a championship contender, but me, I am going to put them as a playoff participant. And my reasoning for this is really, I think they're just going to have probably the exact same year as last year. I think they're going to be a pretty good seed and probably just end up as a second round exit. Maybe they end up in the Western Conference Finals, but I don't see this team making the finals whatsoever. The West got a lot stronger this year, so I don't think they're gonna really do all that much damage in the playoffs like last year, or at least improve from last year. So yeah, that's just my reasoning right there for the Nuggets. So I am going to have the common courtesy of putting the Warriors as a championship contender. I can't put them as a playoff participant. It's just way too disrespectful. Obviously they lost KD, but they've proven that they can win without him. A lot of people are saying that the Clay injury is pretty bad, and that's obvious, but I don't think Clay really needs to be all that like much mobile. So I think that the Warriors are definitely going to come back strong during the playoffs, and I think they can maybe even trade D'Angelo Russell for some pieces, to improve their team. So I just think this team is obviously going to compete for a championship like they've always been doing, and maybe Stephen Curry can prove something this season with KD being gone. He's probably going to end up being like the scoring leader. So I just think that the Warriors are gonna have a lot of things to prove people wrong about them this year. So yeah. The next team we got is the Houston Rockets. Now, obviously, they just got Russell Westbrook. That's their big signing, or not signing, trade. Sorry. Yeah, that's their big trade. And, bro, I think I have to put him as a championship contender. I think I have to. I low key want to put him as a playoff participant, but I mean they got stopped by the Warriors both times in the last 2 years, and that is obviously fair. I think that they would have probably like last year. I think they were probably the second best team in the entire conference. I really do, but they just had to run into the Warriors, so there's not much to do about that. And yeah, I gotta put them right there. I have to. And yeah, I mean, they didn't really have all that much going on in free agency this year. Obviously, they got the Russell Westbrook trade, but that's really it. There wasn't much after that or before. If you're a diehard Rockets fan, you probably know everything that's happening. You're like, what? There was a lot that happened, but that's just a big signing or anything like that. There wasn't much involving the Rockets. They got guys like Austin Rivers back. That's good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, they're going to be a pretty good team once again. And let's move on. So for this next section, I am going to go ahead and do both LA teams, which I think is only right because obviously they were probably the two biggest winners of the entire offseason. I am going to go ahead and put the Clippers as the #1 team in the entire West, probably the entire league as well, and then I'm going to put the Lakers right after them. And that's really my list. It's going from left to right. So I do have the Clippers as the best team, and then the Lakers, and then Golden State, and then the Rockets, and so on, so on. So yeah, I mean, what can I say, bro? They literally got Kawhi and Paul George, and then they obviously have a six-man in Lou Will. They have defensive players around them, just a bunch of role players, and obviously the Lakers got a bunch of role players as well, like Danny Green, Troy Daniels, all those guys. So, I mean, they're both just perfect rosters. And next we have our first try again in a few years team, pretty much my trash category. Now we got the Memphis Grizzlies. Now any Memphis Grizzlies fans out there, I'm sorry, but this team is just not a good team. You guys are obviously rebuilding at this point. You have Jaren Jackson Jr., you have John Morant, you got a really good guy in Brandon Clark. You got a bunch of pieces actually. You're doing a great job ever since Marc Gasol and Mike Conley left, but I can't put you, just higher because you're making good decisions. At the end of the day, you're just going to be bad this season, and I'm sure you're going to end up being one of the great teams in the future. So, yeah, but you are still in the trash category because this team is just not going to win many games in the West, I can tell you that. And, yeah, let's go and move on. Now we're on to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and this is a very tricky team for me to rate in my opinion because they really haven't done anything this offseason to get better. I'm sure Karl Anthony Towns is going to go crazy this season. He's going to have, a crazy year like 25, 12 rebound, 25 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks. I don't know. He's just going to go crazy, 50, 40, 90, something like that. I don't know, bro, but I'm sure he's going to do his thing, but I just don't see this team actually being good. It kind of reminds me of the Suns in a way, even though the Minnesota Timberwolves obviously had a lot more success than the Suns, but they really just don't seem to care. Like, Karl Anthony Towns will request a trade if you guys don't just, do something, because this roster is not going to win games. You literally gave away Derrick Rose to the Pistons for 2 years, $15 million. I'm sure you could have overpaid him a little bit to stay. Just a lot of little things like that, and then they didn't really do anything, like I said, to bring anybody in. They're really just banking on their new rookie, who is Jarrett Culver. Maybe he can do something, but I mean, it's just like you're banking on somebody to do something. You're not really going after anything, and I'm sure Cat's taking a pretty good notice in that, and he might just request a trade at some point. So yeah, it's not looking good for you guys. I am going to put you at not good enough, right behind the Mavericks. So now we are going to be talking about the New Orleans Pelicans. This roster is very exciting. Everybody's going to be watching this roster, including ex-Lakers fans, or not ex, but Lakers fans from a couple years ago who fell in love with these players and now they're gone to New Orleans. They're all going to be watching this team because they got Lonzo Ball, they got Josh Hart, they got Brandon Ingram, and then they obviously drafted Zion Williamson, Jackson Hayes, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and they even got JJ Redick off of free agency. Like, I don't think people understand how crucial that was. This team was already a powerhouse on the defensive end, and then adding JJ Redick, which was pretty much their only problem, which was three-point shooting. Bro, this team is going to be really fun to watch, and I just want to see them, I just want to see Alonzo to Zion alley-oop, bro. That is going to be insane to watch. So I am going to put them as a borderline playoff team because I think they have a very good constructed roster, and I could definitely see them being championship contenders very soon, bro, very soon. But yeah, I would not be surprised if this team made the playoffs. I really wouldn't be, and it would be a great first impression with Zion, and especially just after the AD, situation. So this team is definitely going in the right direction, and I applaud David Griffin for his job here in New Orleans as well. So since these have been taking quite a long time to do, I am going to go ahead and do them a little bit faster. So next we do have Oklahoma City, and I am going to put them at not good enough. I definitely don't think they're going to be trying to make the playoffs after trading away Russell Westbrook and Paul George, but I also don't think they're going to be trash either because they have Chris Paul, they got Danilo Gallinari as well, and obviously Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So yeah, I am excited to see them in the future when all those draft picks turn out to be actual players though. And yeah, let's move on. So for years now, I have been, trying to say that the Phoenix Suns are going to get better. They have Devin Booker. They're putting good pieces around him. All of this, it never works. I've put way too much faith and hope into them. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that they're going to be a trash team this year. I am going to have the common courtesy to put them above the Memphis Grizzlies. But man, they're just going to be terrible like every other year until they prove me wrong. They did get Ricky Rubio to put around Devin Booker. He is going to be pretty nice. He's going to actually pass to DeAndre Ayton, something that, the past point guards for the Phoenix Suns couldn't really do. But I just don't see this team doing anything until they actually do it because, I have to see it to believe it. They are just a terrible team until they prove me otherwise. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. So a lot of people might not agree with this, but I am going to actually put the Sacramento Kings as not good enough. They were obviously a very close playoff team this year to making the playoffs, but I am actually going to make them have a step back. And my reasoning for this is a lot of their players had career years, and I don't really know if they can do that again, so I am going to put them right there. The West did get tougher, so I just don't see them making the playoffs, but it's definitely a possibility. All of this is just my opinion, so it's all interchangeable at the end of the day. But yeah, another good thing that they did was actually sign Dwayne Dedmon. I think that was really underrated. He is definitely a very underrated player. Something that I didn't really like that they did was get Corey Joseph. They paid a lot of money for him. I'm a Pacers fan, so I would know how much money he's actually worth. I'm happy he got the bag, but he definitely, isn't really playing enough to do that in my opinion. He's just a very happy dribbler, if you know what I mean, bro. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So in this next take, I do want to actually do both teams at once. So let's go and do the Spurs first. The Spurs, I am going to put them as a borderline playoff team. I think that's just obvious. They're the Spurs. They have the name for it, and they have Popovich. So that's really my two reasons. And they're the Spurs, so they're always in the playoff contention, no matter what. Like I literally could say anything right now, and they're gonna be in the playoff contention. It's just how it is. And yeah, it's gonna be very sad to see the day when they don't make the playoffs. I hope it's not this year, but we will definitely see. And then the Jazz, I am gonna put them as a playoff participant, actually in front of both of these teams. I think they made some great moves. They obviously got my guy Bojan Bogdanovic, and yeah, they also got guys like Ed Davis, Jeff Green, just a lot of really good role players to put around Donovan Mitchell, and obviously the biggest one, they got Mike Conley. So yeah, this team is going to be really, really good. I could actually see them being, in the running for the championship, but I'm not going to, risk it and put them there just because I don't think they're, better than any of these teams. I could actually put them right there, but I'm just not going to risk it. They're definitely going to be a very good team, but I don't know if they're going to be that good. So yeah, that's my list right there. Make sure to comment if you agree with it or disagree with it. I'll go ahead and give my reasons for it. Make sure you also like or subscribe to go ahead and support my channel as well. This is a small channel. I know it's hard to grow, but we're going to get there. And yeah, I'll see y'all boys out.